And as so many good things do, all good things must come to an end. And that will be the last time we use that intro on this show. I added a little bit to it. I modified it just a little bit for tonight. And I am going to start all over this weekend and do some new intros for the shows. So that'll be the last time we use that. I don't know if I'll keep the music or not. I might. I'm not sure, but
sometimes you just don't mess with perfection, I love that opening. I love the music, everything about it. It sets a mood. But I trust you. We'll see how it goes.
I used to have God, what was it? Where it was like dun 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 dun. Can't remember the name of the song right now. Yeah, welcome. Don't touch me, stay back.
Oh, welcome everybody. Hello,
back when
everyone
it was
in chat.
Midnights of Madness, that was never on at midnight. We were never on at midnight, but it was Midnights of Madness. Right. The original Tuesday and Thursday show.
Right.
Oh shit! How are you doing tonight, brother?
Well, I showed you earlier. I've been still working. I don't even have paper and pencil to write on yet, I'm using my computer for my book stuff, and I didn't even put the thought process together that I could use Word to keep track of everything that I'm doing here for this show. But, I'm just trying to memorize things and put things together to make sure you guys aren't disappointed. I'll say that. But you know what? I love this small town. Love coming to visit Valhalla. Doing really good.
Hell yeah. Well, we love it when you come and visit. What do you got for us tonight?
I have to start off with some disclaimers. It's odd to relate, and it's happened more than once. And you kind of have an inkling why, but the second one that happened today, I was not prepared for. The subject matter I wanted to get into tonight, was prepared for, kind of got shot down by a couple different sources. One of them, she's probably in the chat right now. Just an regular person like the rest of us who runs in different circles than I, but covers similar topics of study. And the other source was one that's a lot more mysterious, and I was basically warned by both of them that if you cover what you're going to cover, Valhalla will be destroyed by forces beyond our control. And YouTube will take it down permanently. So I had to cut out a lot of what I was going to do tonight. I'm going to spoon feed and let you guys figure out some of the things that I was going to go into. But I'm going to tell you a couple of stories before I have the video that I gave you shown up. All of this is true. Okay. First off, I have an apology. The other part wasn't an apology. It was just telling you what had happened. But the apology is not so heartfelt. Years ago, when my son, I have a handicapped son, when we were able to start to travel with him, we decided to figure out something that would be really special for him. We started going to Disney World. He was little. The youngest was still, you had to carry him around. And we went a couple times and decided, we're going to join the Disney Vacation Club. So we become members of Disney Vacation Club. We own part of the timeshare for 60 years. It's all paid for. So if you guys hold that against me, I was just doing it for my son, and I can care less if you hold that against me. It doesn't mean I buy anything from Disney other than that where we could take the kids. And they're a little older, but get that out front. Here's another thing. My brother, years ago when I was little, he's in his late 70s now, not the one I normally talk about. He was a really phenomenal contractor, terrible with a checkbook, but very, very good with building things, phenomenal at it. And he was contracted by Disneyland years and years ago when they were still growing to build underground, yes, underground structures. I know they are there because my brother worked on them and explained to me what they were and what Disney told him they were. He said they were huge, probably bigger than what they needed, and they told him that it was for storing props and different things, but he never got to see it. But after his company that he ran finished building it, and I got to see this, they gave him a gold card. The gold card is a lifetime pass to any Disney facility. So he can go any Disney around the world and get in for free for life. So now there's underground. And I told Loki about this, I was about 9 months ago. I was pissed. He'd never heard me angry before. I mean, I was livid, and it's hard to get me mad. But I saw on TV 2 guys that were arrested at Disney World for pedophilia. And I recognized one of them. And the reason why I recognized him, my youngest son, when he was about 6, no, he must have been 5. We were in one of the gift shops off of a ride. And, you know, you're at Disney World. You think everyone's safe, but you kind of keep an eye on things. And I turned my head for a brief second. And then I saw my son, a gentleman had his hand on his back and was leading him just like a sheep out of the gift shop. And I ran up, grabbed him, and looked down at him. And before I could get after the guy, he was gone. My son was about to be kidnapped. And lo and behold, years later, that same guy had been arrested for acts of pedophilia associated with Disney World. All right. There are other stories, rumors of different things that could happen. I'm not going to get into it. Like I said, I don't want to jeopardize anyone's chapter here, but we have gone in the past. I brought up things about MK Ultra, the mind control program that was set up by the CIA to manipulate people to do various different things whenever they wanted to become mass shooters, to have people in government in certain parts of power. There are also stars that you've seen, and you can figure out the relationship between these. Because I'm not going to put it in there. Not yet. We'll get bits and pieces over time. I don't want to overwhelm everyone, and I know some of you don't like to hear this. Some of you understand this already, and some of you probably think I'm a jerk for making this up, but it's not made up. I don't care. I'm just presenting you with the facts. But you know, people like Shia LaBeouf, once upon a time, he did okay as a little kid, and then he cracked, and he's really weird now. Or Britney Spears, or a myriad of other people that worked for a certain company over time. And their whole demeanor, their faces, everything about them is odd now. And it's almost universal. This MK Ultra had influence in several different businesses, companies working through the CIA. And some of you, if you look back, you can find these still. If you're really, really good at it, you can look back and find things from the early 40s, especially in 1942 when the war was on. And all of a sudden, Daffy Duck started making war movies, propaganda movies for the United States, to buy bonds, to go against the fascists. Well, what most people don't know, and you can look this up because this is true, Walt Disney became an FBI agent and worked closely with the CIA. There are also rumors, you can follow them down the rabbit hole. I'm not going to claim this as fact, but that he was also involved with the Masons. And you guys all know what a 33-degree Mason is. There are rumors and stuff that I won't get into about that, but you know, let's say the 33rd parallel, this is fact, runs right through Disneyland, and there is a Club of 33. And the Club of 33 requires anywhere from $20,000 to $50,000 to enter and over $10,000 a year to stay in. It's a very exclusive, very high end, and has access to the secret tunnels underground. I know that for a fact. But let's get back to Walt Disney. As an FBI agent, he started doing all these nice, fun things for the government and for the CIA. Eventually, he became I can't remember the exact title. It's like a secret agent or super special agent in charge. That's what it is, where he actually had command over other FBI agents. I'm not saying Walt was a bad guy, but the things that he was able to do were utilized by other people and are now really being utilized by people. Like most of you know that Disney World was bought on property secretly, has their own government that is completely separate from Orlando or even the federal government. They can do things there that they cannot do in the rest of the country, and it is against the law, against the Constitution. Things like scrubbing names and faces from records of people who have been abducted or disappear or injured at parks. And we'll leave it at that. Epcot serves a purpose. Love that place on the face of it, but underneath, not going to go there. All right, enough of that. Like I said, I had a lot I was going to get into, and for reasons that you can kind of infer from what I'm implying, I'll leave it at that. Loki has a video that I spliced together from some other research that was done. These are people that have experiences, and I want you to hear it from them. Their names will be listed there. You can look up some of them have books. You can look them up and find out more of this story on your own. So when you're ready, Loki, go ahead and please show that.
All right. We're going to try something new. We're actually going to try and share this video. So give me just a second. If everybody can see that.
And over the rainbow, it would be something completely different. It would be a different setting, a different projection of it that was perceived over here. So it's to somebody who's been severely traumatized, it makes illogical subconscious sense where it can be related to. And then you take something like follow the yellow brick road. You have to follow exactly where you're told to go in order to achieve whatever it is to arrive or to even get back home or whatever else. You have to do exactly what you're told.
This was no game. We had to read the maps and follow the directions that were encoded. We had our own language. It was cartoon character and Disney based.
If any of you want to look that up, you will find testimony after testimony of all kinds of very bizarre things, but we're going to let it go for now. We'll get back to some other stuff later.
It was cartoon character and Disney based. Then I read Kathy O'Brien's book and heard her testimony about how they delivered messages to each other that was cartoon and Disney based.
Because look at this, look at this badge that Charlotte, can you see this? Can you see this? It's Ursula from The Little Mermaid. Which you love this film?
Yeah, it's not a game for me at all.
No way.
No way.
No way.
No, you're talking about some very serious stuff.
I was taken to military bases, I was taken to Disneyland, and I was taken to NASA, and I was put into a lot of the equipment that they use on astronauts and that they have there.
And then after that I was taken to Disney World on the way home, and I just remember they did a bit of MK Ultra programming there.
At Disney World?
Yes, Disneyland was actually built not just as a theme park, but as a part of the MK Ultra program, and they use it. See, when they close the park, they use it for pedophile parties and for MK Ultra programming. And see, the programming has lots of Disney themes in it. So, you know, Snow White and Tinkerbell and, you know, Alice in Wonderland and, you know, Wizard of Oz and all this sort of stuff. They're all used. These are the themes they use on children. And so when they play the movies, like Fantasia, you know, is a classic programming film, which, you know, kids like me hate. Brings back terrible memories of throwing up, etc. But all those programs, that's what they are. They're programs. So they only have to play those movies to us, or we only see something that reminds us in those movies. So we just have to see the outfit that Alice in Wonderland wore or whatever, and what it does is it reinforces the programming, and it reinforces those neural connections that they've created artificially, and keeps everything else, keeps the programming active. So it's like reinforces the trauma, reminds you of the trauma, it triggers you. That's what it's like if we see these reminders of being absolutely brutally tortured, then it sets us off, and it has the desired effect on our brain. So while I was there, I mean, I just remember Ted Turner raping me there. And there were other men there. I was very drugged, though, at different times. They drugged me, and they put me in that horrible teacup ride and spun me, and then, you know, put me through that It's a Small World After All, you know, ride. That was horrible. And I was drugged and just vomiting, and they used hypnosis. Yeah, that's what I remember, and then, I don't know, I don't remember the trip home.
That last lady there, if you guys go back and watch the program again, she gets into some really, really, if you're from Australia, don't think you're immune to this stuff. We'll just leave it at that. Like I said, this actually, believe it or not, I'm spoon feeding you. This is just barely scratching the surface. And I wouldn't bring it up if I didn't have receipts. So you can, I'm going to have to end it here, but on your own, you're going to go and start checking these things out. Look up, rewind this later on, look up those ladies' names, check the sources, look at other children that have been involved in Hollywood or, you know, the Mouse House in specific. But this is dangerous ground for a lot of reasons. And like I said, I've had a couple warnings today. One that was really big and one that was from a friend. So, but I don't want you to be in the dark. So we're going to get spoon-fed, and you guys can put the chains of all of these little long, twisted tales together, and you'll be able to see the big picture. And maybe if you do your investigation enough, you can get there a lot quicker. But I warn you, because this happened to me, not the trauma that these kids do, but investigation. Sometimes you will be introduced to things that you wish you had never known. So I am going to have to leave it there. There you go, Loki.
Just to add to what Adega was saying, on 3/3/21, that was 8 days ago, I got a message from the same source that talks to Doomcock a lot about the Disney stuff. And what that source sent me was, "Hail, we just got some major info. Beware, Disney is coming after YouTubers. They think that the fandom is organizing all the downvoting on their Twitter page. Beware what you like and retweet. Spread the word. This is coming from a very high source inside Disney. We have already emailed DVD, which is Doom Overlord DVD, Doomcock, that they were coming after YouTubers, and they're coming after YouTubers' channels because YouTubers have not been making them ever since the Gina Carano thing. It's been nuts."
They don't want the truth to be exposed.
And we've got a $5 super chat from Psychodorf9. I think that's like one of our first super chats on Thursday nights. I don't know.
Psychodorf is a stud in the half, and thank you, big guy.
A new spin on Paramount's obsession over Alice in Wonderland. That's true. It's absolutely true, brother. And thank you so very much. Let me see what I've got here just for you. We will do this one. Skull! I love that movie. Oh, the last starfighter is dead. So, the story I'm going to read to you guys tonight is titled My DNA Genealogy Test Shattered Everything I Thought I Knew About My Life. It is written by R.M. Staniforth, the same R.M. Staniforth that wrote the last two stories that we read about the psychopath. So, this is over on Creepypasta. If you guys want to read it at any point, I'm going to throw out the link in chat. So there you go. There is the link to the story. So here we go. I sat against the red and brown brick wall outside the police station. Knees tucked into my chest, my heavy breast clouded in front of me as the cold as the cold winter air bit at my skin, making my fingers numb. But I didn't care. The cold air provided me with the only sense of peace that I could find right now. Just yesterday, I was just a normal teenage kid living a normal teenage life with normal parents who loved me. Today, though, everything I thought I knew about my life was shattered. My family, the Antovs, always boasted proud Russian heritage. My grandparents on both sides of my family migrated here from the USSR when they were just children. My father always told me the dramatic versions of the stories of his grandfather, Maxim Antov. Maxim migrated to the United States with his family with only $6.55 in his pocket. However, we knew very little about our family genealogy past Maxim, thanks to their town being completely destroyed in the war. With all of these new DNA genealogy tests now readily available, I thought it would be fun to surprise my parents by getting a more detailed picture of our true ancestry. I researched these test kits for hours and I was amazed. I was completely blown away. I just knew my parents would love this, so I secretly purchased a test kit with the money I'd made raking leaves and shoveling snow. I went to the store with my cash and change. I handed the cashier my wrinkled, disorganized bills, mostly with 5s, 10s, and 1s in them. The bored cashier gave me a noticeable sigh, but counted out the money anyway before handing me a receipt and a small, firm box. Out of the box, I pulled a small tube in sterile packaging. I filled the tube to the line with clear, bubbly spit. Then I sealed the enclosed, pre-labeled box and dropped it off at the nearest blue postal drop. The results took a long time. I checked my email regularly, hoping to see a notification that my results were ready to view. I grew impatient, waiting. It had been 3 weeks, then 4 weeks, then 5 weeks. Finally, 5 weeks and 6 days later, during online school, I got the notification. Your DNA genealogy test results are ready to view. I hurried to the website and typed at the key so fast that I entered my password incorrectly, not once, but twice. Finally, my account opened up. I eagerly opened the genealogy chart, excited to bring the incredible insight and clarity to my family. But when I opened the results, I found only confusion instead of clarity. There wasn't any Russian listed at all. The color-coded bullet points showed that I am 62% Scottish, 11% Welsh, 10% German, 8% Italian, 5% Arabic, and 4% Indigenous American. Not even a fraction of Russian heritage was listed. The detailed map showed colored migration patterns of my alleged ancestors dating back to the 1700s, but not a single one of those colored dotted lines ever touched Soviet land. I was so confused and disappointed. I thought that I would be getting a detailed explanation as my family genealogy, but instead I just found a bunch of mumbo-jumbo that didn't add up to anything. I figured if there was one person that might be able to explain this, it would be my father. I was disappointed that I couldn't give him the awesome surprise that I had hoped for, but now I was the one who needed answers. So I walked into his home office and confessed what I had done and asked why my genealogy wasn't Russian. Now you have to understand, my father was rarely a person of quick to anger, but when I showed the usual calm and collected man the results, his face turned red and his lips twisted into a grimace if he had just drank sour milk. I had never in my life seen him so livid, so angry, waving his arms around with spit droplets flying from his mouth with each word he yelled. After 30 minutes of listening to his terrifying rant about how those tests were fake and unreliable, an outright scam according to him, my father decided that I disabled my account and never speak of this again. Never in my life have I ever felt so let down. I was just trying to make my family proud. I couldn't understand why my dad was so angry. I disabled my account, deleted it all, and walked back to my room staring at the ground. I was devastated. The ensuing days felt so strange and awkward at home with my dad, so I barricaded myself in the sanctuary of my room to avoid any contact with him. He did the same. My mom got weird too after my dad undoubtedly told her what I did. I could feel her avoiding eye contact with me. They even confiscated my cell phone. My frickin' cell phone. Finally, it was Monday, one of the 2 days each week that I had in-person schooling. I was relieved to hop on my bike and ride away from the now tense house. Away from the trauma and all the tension. When I arrived at school and talked with my friends, I finally found relief and felt like I could be myself again. That, however, wouldn't last long. It was only the first period when I was called to the office. Now, you have to understand, I'd never been called to the office before. So I collected my things nervously, dropping my books in front of my entire class. I strolled out quickly to the administration offices, my heart beating through my chest. The second I walked through those doors, I found 2 police officers looking at me intently. "Are you Max Antov?" asked one of the officers. "Yeah, who are you?" I replied nervously, my thumbs circling each other in front of me. I had never been in trouble at school, ever, yet alone in trouble with the cops. My mind raced at the possibilities of where I could have gone wrong. Maybe I thought it was my frequent jaywalking. I don't know. The officer must have noticed my worried expression. "Don't worry, kid. You're not in any trouble." Leaning down to appear less threatening, he said, "My name is Detective Reynolds, and this is my partner, Detective Carter." He gestured to the female officer beside him. "We need to have a word with you at the station." My mind was racing. Why? Is everything okay? Was there an accident? I started to panic. I thought maybe something had happened with my parents, some kind of accident. "No emergency," Detective Carter chimed in, showing a gentle smile. "This is concerning a cold case. We'll explain when we get downtown." I was concerned, but I could tell that whatever was going on, it was serious. I obliged and followed the detectives out to their car. Detective Reynolds was kind enough to grab my bike and attach it to the car's bike rack. Finally, when we arrived at the station, I was guided to a room in the back. It wasn't an interrogation room, but an office with a couch and a few chairs. I sat down on the couch next to Carter as Reynolds pulled a chair up and sat in front of me. Couldn't help but feel like they were being a little too sympathetic, making sure that I was comfortable and offering me soda and snacks. It just made me worry. We need to talk to you about your DNA test that you submitted to yourgenealogymatters.com, said Detective Reynolds, sitting backwards in the chair right in front of me. His arms rested on the backrest while he nervously tinkered with his wedding ring. This may seem like a shock, but your profile matches a murder victim in a local cold case. He took a long, deep breath before dropping the bomb. Max, I really don't know how to explain this to you, but according to your DNA, the victim could be your biological mother. That's not possible, I said. I saw my mom this morning. Detective Carter caught on to Reynolds' struggle to explain the touchy situation and injected herself in a calm and reassuring tone. She gave me a gentle squeeze on my shoulder and looked me in the eye. Max, the victim was found murdered, and her 3-year-old baby was missing and never found. That crime happened on January 6, 2003, which is the date you listed as your birthday. Detective Reynolds wiped his forehead before finally looking up to make eye contact with me. The way he was looking at me, as if I was a wounded pet, showed that he certainly believed his twisted theory. Look, I know this is a lot, but we'd like to take your footprints and a confirmation DNA sample, so we can compare them to the footprints on the birth certificate of the missing baby boy, as well as DNA retrieved from the baby's pacifier. All I could do was nod. A forensics officer came to the room and swabbed both of my cheeks with long Q-tips. After that, she pulled out a kit that she used to get my fingerprints. Hours passed as I waited for the results. I felt a pressure in my chest as I paced the room, sat on the couch, paced the room again. I even tried to read a magazine, but I couldn't read more than 2 sentences without my mind going in a million different directions. This had to be a mistake. I was certain that the company had accidentally swapped my DNA with someone else's. That explained everything. And that was the reason for all of this. The officers said they were rushing the test, but it still felt like I was pacing that room for days on end. Finally, Reynolds and Carter walked into the room, failing to hide their dismal expressions. He put his hand on my shoulder and gave me a pitiful look. Son, I'm sorry to say both the prints and the DNA are a confirmed match. So, that's how I ended up sitting outside the police station. The concerned Detective Carter trying to decide if I needed medical care or fresh air was enough. She kindly guided me outside after I started hyperventilating inside that room. Detective Reynolds was still inside, likely making a plan to arrest my parents or whoever the hell they were. What I did next was impulsive, erratic, and ultimately the most horrible decision I could make. But I wasn't in my right mind. I looked up to Detective Carter, who awkwardly leaned against the wall with her hands in her pockets. Do you think I can get a drink of water? I asked. Yeah, no problem, Max. She replied with a gentle smile. You just stay right here. I'll be right back. The second that door closed behind her, I jumped to my feet and ran to the parking lot. I grabbed my bike off the car, hopped on, and pedaled as fast as I possibly could towards my house, barely noticing how hard I was breathing. It's only a couple miles away, so I arrived in maybe 10 minutes, fueled by panic, adrenaline. My dad's car wasn't there, but I knew my mom was home. I sprinted upstairs and burst into her room, sending the door slamming into the wall and bouncing back at me. She looked up from her book, taken aback by the boisterous entrance and heavy breathing. Is everything okay, Max? She asked. I came here to confront her. But now that we were face to face, I struggled through words, not sure how to start this conversation. Finally, still panting, I blurted it out. Did you kill my mom? Her eyes widened in shock, but then her expression quickly changed to a mixture of sadness and sympathy. I am your mom, Max, she told me quietly. Then why? I started to yell before taking a deep breath and resuming a more controlled tone. Why did the police just match my DNA to the kidnapped baby of a murder victim? Her face perked at the mention of police. The police? You called the police? She said, panicked as she walked across the room to close the curtains. No, they found me. She hurried to her nightstand, from which she retrieved a silver revolver, We need to leave right now, Max. Get in the car. You need to tell me the truth, I yelled, this time unable to remain composed. My hands and legs were shaking and my chest felt heavy and tight again. My mom froze as police sirens were now audible in the distance. They were coming our way, and quickly. You want the truth? She asked as the sirens suddenly grew louder and the neighborhood dogs joined in. Here's the truth. She stepped closer and leaned towards me, clutching the gun with her finger on the trigger. I suddenly realized that I may have just put myself in a situation with a murderer. Obviously, I didn't know this woman the way I thought. Could she kill me too? That woman was not your mother. She was a worthless heroin-tweaking whore. She practically spat that last word out, not even attempting to hide her spite. We tried for years to have a baby, but we couldn't. Meanwhile, that woman was blessed with a beautiful baby. She took another step closer as I took a step back. The sirens were now right in front of the house, sending red and blue flashing lights through the windows. An intercom buzzed with orders from my parents to step outside of the house with our hands up. She ignored it. We found you. Just a baby, crying in the back seat of a hot car with a spoiled diaper. Her expression softened, and her eyes changed from anger to sadness. The woman who gave birth to you was passed out in the front with a goddamn needle sticking out of her arm. She took a deep breath and grabbed my hand with hers. So yeah, we did what we had to do to save you. We gave you a far better life than you would have ever had if we left you there. We've always loved you, as if you were our very own. Tears now streamed down both of our faces as a boom on the front door being kicked down cracked through the house, signaling the entrance of the police. As I fell to the ground sobbing, my mother stood up and looked at me with the unarguable love that she had felt for me. Never forget who your real mother is. You are my son, and I love you, Max. Those were the last words she ever said to me. As the police headed up the stairs, she charged them with the revolver still in her hand. The gunshots rang through the house, followed by the thud of her body hitting the floor. Detective Carter found me in my mother's room, sobbing and hyperventilating. She grabbed me in her arms and embraced me in a way that was both sympathetic and somehow understanding. With surprising strength, she picked me up in her arms, carrying a 160-pound boy out of the house after covering my head with her jacket. Detective Carter, whose first name is Michael, took me to the hospital and stayed by my side through the night and woke the next morning. My father was arrested not too long after. I've asked to speak with him, but so far his lawyer won't allow it. They did allow me to go to my mother's funeral, though. Thankfully, Michael accompanied me. None of the people that I once thought were my family members so much as looked my way. I realized that day that I was alone in this world, without any family. At the end of the funeral, Michael handed me a beautiful bouquet of royal blue roses. She gave me an understanding nod to my unspoken emotions. As I placed the flowers on the casket, I whispered, I love you too, Mom. So, Mr. R.M. Staniforth, I love this guy's writing, and he just posted that on the 7th. I'm going to do everything I can to keep up with this person. I think they're great. I think they're absolutely great, and I've absolutely loved getting to do these. I'm going to see if I can get an email. I'm going to
I was just going to say that.
Yeah. I'm going to message Creepypasta and see if I can't get an email and let them know that I have been doing these on my YouTube channel on Thursday nights, and maybe get them in for an interview at some point. I don't know, but I've absolutely loved getting to do these.
He's very good, and I find it. I was thinking of this. There's a couple things that I was thinking of while we're doing this. Obviously, it touched several people in the chat, including myself, because there's quite a few of us that have been adopted, and escaped some of the nightmares that could happen with unwanted pregnancies, with foster homes, this, that, and the other, all these different things that could occur. So it hits some of us.
Yeah.
But the other thing is he writes the stories that we read so far in first person, and it takes a certain skill that I don't know I could ever do. And I appreciate his work quite a bit because of that. I've never tried, except for one short story. It seemed okay, but I admire people that can do that with that type of skill.
So do I. I've absolutely loved reading the last three. These are the best three that I've gotten to read.
Yeah.
So
thank you for bringing those up. It's expanding our world of literature quite a bit. He is very talented and underappreciated, and hopefully we can help him gain some recognition for his hard work, his talent.
Indeed. That's it. That was a deep story. Chris Persia said that deep. That story was very deep. Yeah. And there's been a giddiness about the terrible kid that we talked about the last 2 weeks. There was a giddiness to all of that I tried to bring out while I was reading those two past stories.
Tried to? You did it. You will.
And this was a lot that there's a totally different kind of emotion here. This kid's trying to do something really cool for his parents, and it completely shatters everything.
Which reminds me, and this is why I don't do a DNA. I redirect message you an image I told you to hold on to for a later date. I think right now would be a real good time to show it. So it should be my next tweet inside your direct messages.
Okay, give me 1 second.
Like I said, this is some of the stuff that I've been working on in the background, trying to put everything together for everybody. Some of you may know this.
Oh, yeah.
It applies.
Oh, yeah. Okay, hold on.
This is going to blow your mind, folks, because most of you don't know this.
Open.
And again, this is why if I ever did a DNA, it would be incredibly anonymous.
All right. So, share screen. There you go.
Check that out. Co-founder of Google is married to, who is sister to. Do you really want them having your DNA?
Wow. Okay, so the co-founder of Google, president of Alphabet Incorporated, is Sergey Brin.
Yes. Married to.
He is married to.
Yep, go ahead.
Washiki?
Yep.
Washiki, co-founder of 23andMe, the DNA database. Her sister is Susan Washiki, CEO of YouTube.
Amazing how it stays in the family. And if you don't like one, why in the heck would you be wanting to give them information about your DNA?
Yeah, not happening.
You didn't know that, did you?
Del Cesaruno, what it is it's a picture of three people. A picture of Sergey Brin, who is the co-founder of Google. A picture of his wife that he's been married to, or that he was married to from 2007 to 2015, and Washiki, founder of the DNA database 23andMe, and a picture of her sister, who is the CEO of YouTube. That's what it is a picture of.
And you can see what their net worth is and what kind of things will they do with that money, especially when they don't treat their companies very well, don't treat the people underneath them very well, and they want you to give their DNA. Anyway,
Probably not.
After Loki's story, I figured that might be a little nice caveat.
Yeah, no, not because they can set you up to have whatever DNA they want to. At the end of the day, they can set you up to have whatever DNA they want you to have. You could get something back that's completely false.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. But databases like that, especially considering some of the things that are happening with viruses and stuff, you could think about what DNA samples could be used for targeting certain populations with certain genetic histories.
Yeah.
There is evidence, and I won't go too much into this because we're reaching, and I don't have as many receipts as I normally do when I share things, but I'm just going to throw this out to you. This is more coming from the doctor's side of thing than it is from the conspiratorial side of thing. That genocidal weapons have been designed that can target specific ethnic groups or specific sexes or specific ages, all dependent upon what your DNA is expressing at the time. Because your DNA can be altered, it can change, it can adapt. It's stagnant in some ways, in other ways it's fluid. But the capability of doing it, and one of these days I wanted to show you a video because it exists and you guys can look it up, of Bill Gates giving a lecture to the CIA in one of their offices in the Pentagon. And he is talking about how they have developed a vaccine that will turn people away from religion. A vaccine changing people's religious beliefs. And it's already there. He was expressing the idea of using it against certain terrorist groups in foreign countries to pacify them. The words he used. If you can pacify one group, you can pacify them all. Anyway, I'm done. I've gone too far.
Oh, shit. Thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for talking to us. Thank you for sharing that. All of it from Disney to what we were just talking about. Thank you, brother.
It's a pleasure to be with you. All of you. You're all Valhalla. I just happen to be the one who knows some of the freaky stuff.
Well, it's always a joy to get to work with you on Thursday. So thank you for being here. Thank you for spending the time to be here. I know you're busy, and I know that you work your butt off. And with the move, man, that's crazy. So thank you very much for being here. We all need more Fanta now. YTL. We all need more Fanta.
Or go listen to 46 and 2 by Tool.
Everybody have a great night. We'll see you back here tomorrow morning to be talking about the Best Director series. We've got another Best Director, and that person is Christopher Nolan. So we will be talking Christopher Nolan in the morning. Everyone take care. Have a great one, and we will see you guys later.
Good night, all.
These videos are tremendous. Like, comment, and subscribe, and hammer that notification bell.